Hey, everybody. Yes, welcome back to the Paid Search Podcast. My name is Jason Rothman. As always, I'm joined by the great Chris Schaefer. Chris, how are you doing today?
I'm doing excellent, Jason. Good to see you. I always get I may not get any smiles for the next 45 minutes, but you always give that hey everybody smile like when you start. I do get that. So I rely on that. I know that you have teeth. I see them at the beginning, and then when it gets down to business, no more teeth. It's just razor teeth at that point sometimes.
Well, thank you, Chris, and maybe I could just smile the whole time today if that makes you
Yeah, no, then it's
feel
just
better.
weird. Then it's just creepy. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, no, no. I'll pass. Mm,
Mm,
mm.
mm.
There we go.
So I asked you how you are doing, but how's it going?
Oh, Jason, it's hot. It's beautiful outside, but hot. It's great to look at through a window.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but here in the office, it's hot as here. It's hot here as well, Jason. Hot
Doing
and
some
heavy. I mean, just
hot Google
business.
Ads work, yeah.
Yeah, just business is popping. It's can't complain. I'm sure it's the same for you. Two guys, the top of their
Better,
game.
yeah, better.
Better. What'd you say? Oh yeah, better than that.
Yeah, better. It's better, just by a little bit, but it's better.
Yeah.
So, Chris, we've got our Paid Search Podcast jobs page out there on the website, PPC Jobs, if you're looking for a job in this industry. We've got the PPC Daily, where we cut up the Paid Search Podcast and put it into segments Monday
Mm-hmm.
through Friday on a podcast feed. And then we are back on YouTube as well. So we appreciate all of your support and leaving reviews and sharing the show with your friends and colleagues. Chris, this is episode number 317, and we're going to be talking about what's the best bidding strategy in Google Ads.
Yes.
And we'll also be talking about if that's even a fair question. Do we have to put a qualifying on there, in what situation? But we're going to go deep on bidding because it's one of those things. It's always up for debate.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I like the way that you have the question here, because what's the best bidding strategy? Because I think what we're going to talk about is, we're going to try to make it very specific to what your situation might be, give some very specific examples. But the truth is, there is no best bidding strategy, but there might be a best for you.
Mm.
So that's what we'll go with here. But before we do that, I want to remind you guys about the best PPC management software. And that's not a qualitative statement. That is 100% true statement. It's the best for you. It's the best for the guy next to you. It's the best for everyone. And I want to tell you about Opteo. Opteo.com. That's OPTEO.com. That is the solution that helps you get more done in your day with Google Ads. You have limited time. You're running a business. You know you need to check Google Ads. You pull it in and you just stare at it like, I don't know what to do now. It's running. Check. What's step number one? Well, Opteo helps you with step number one all the way through step 99. I mean, it's a wonderful tool that brings to light issues that you would never see any other way. And the great thing is you can try it for 8 weeks, 2 months for free. That is twice as long as all those other lost people out there that don't know about this show. You get the special deal. That's opteo.com/PSP. Get that amazing free trial, and you'll learn just why it is our favorite and all our listeners' favorite PPC management software.
Okay, Chris, thank you. Now let's talk about what's the best bidding strategy in Google Ads. Let me just first start here by asking you, what is going on with bidding in Google Ads these days? What are you hearing from clients? What are you hearing from new clients? What are you seeing when you do consulting? Are a lot of people on manual? Are a lot of people on automated? What automated strategies? How are those working? What's kind of the state of bidding as you see it here in 2022?
Oh, that's a good question to start off with, because Jason, I'm going to make a leap. I'm going to categorize people and judge people and put them into a box. But for those of you that don't like to be put in boxes, here's a box for you. Okay. Because I'm going to put everyone in boxes. Everybody has their own box. Jason, I would say people that are very nervous, maybe insecure about Google Ads, about making the right answer, the best answer, that kind of thing. When you hear questions like that, usually people tend to push more towards, whatever the recommendation tab would put them in. Whatever the recommendation tab says in Google, they're going to go with that. They don't really know how to judge if that's the best solution, but they're just going to say, that seems to be what Google suggests. I'm going to go with it. So that's box number one. Box number two is someone who has more experience or an account that shows history and has steady returns in history there, so we can see that conversions have been happening, success, however they're measuring it, has been happening month after month, maybe year after year. Those people are more secure about where they're at and what they're looking for and how they get there. Those people tend to pick very specifically, whether it's manual, whether it's automated, that can go back and forth, but they tend to be much more specific
to what they want.
choose, and they have a reason for it, not just because it's forced on them. That's what I find.
So you're seeing people out there who are a little unsure of things. They go with the recommended strategy. People who have more history know what they want out of it, and they have any kind of strategy, but they have a strategy that they're more choosing, and they have a strong reason for it. So it sounds like you're seeing a little bit of everything out there in terms of the actual strategies themselves.
Oh yeah, everyone does everything. I would say the most common, you let me know what you think, but I think the most common that I see is max conversions. Maximize conversions.
That's what I see too. And we'll preview this when we talk about the max conversions. We'll talk about this when we talk about that segment. But little bone to pick, little right hand straight to throw right to their chins.
Yeah.
Out of all those people running, by the way, call me. It's not all violence over here. Yeah.
Nothing personal.
It's just it's not the personal, and no, these aren't real right straights. They're metaphorical. Right. I host a lot of podcasts, but the thing is, Chris, only love. Which out of all these majority of people, because I would say yes, that's the majority I see as well. Max conversions, and oh boy, is there a lot in a name these days? You can't do better than that name.
Yeah.
You
Max
can do
profits.
So you know what I'm gonna, again, just to preview the episode, I've got a new name for manual. It's called Maximize Conversions with a Manual Bidding Strategy. I no longer refer to it as manual bids.
That's the whole name.
To get clients to let me try to do it, I've got to compete with the naming thing.
Yeah.
But talking about max conversions, it's the majority that we see out there. But what percent of those accounts running max conversions are tracking all conversions? What percent of them are tracking leads that come in from the website, all the kinds of lead forms, tracking the calls from ads? I see people with calls from ads, call reporting turned on, but no conversion assigned to the call extension. Okay. So they're not tracking those in a lot of cases. And then what about website conversion tracking? What percent of the people running maximize conversions? And I want an answer here. I want a number. What percent of them are tracking all the conversions? Half
percent,
50%, 20%, 1 out of 4, 25%.
Let's say 25. Let's say 25% have a solid handle on, and particularly it seems to be phone call. That seems to be where everybody is going okay. They have most of everything tracked, and then phone call, no. Even though I asked them, is phone call important?
Brother, co-host, you better open up that conversion segment button and look at the different conversion actions, because a lot of times, even when they have lead form tracking in place, I see double counting.
Oh yeah.
Buddy, brother, co-host, you better go to the conversions page and look at one versus many. You better look at the second threshold on a call, how long a call has to be. I'm seeing 15 seconds. I'm seeing 1 second. I'm seeing count many, even though it's the same person filling out a lead form. Even when they have some of those set up. So yeah, well, and I just wanted to preview that. It's a bone I have to pick with it, if you agree with me.
Because you're absolutely right. Several of the bidding strategies that we're going to talk about rely entirely on the precision and the authenticity of that conversion number. And if they're doubling,
I worked in a corporate cubicle office, because there's some thing that people say around the water cooler or in meetings. They say like crap in, crap out, or something like that. You put bad data in the system, you get bad data out. And if you don't have good, clean, perfect conversion tracking in place, why are you running max conversions? Why not run max clicks? Because that's essentially what you're.
Or even, I don't. Maybe I should save it. I'll save it.
Save it, buddy.
I'm gonna save it,
buddy, brother.
Save it,
co-host,
brother.
Save it. All right, so Chris, let's talk. So that's the current state, and as you can see, things are pretty jumbled out there. There's a lot going on, and there's a lot of options, and we've got to figure out which one is the right one to use. So now we're going to talk about maximize clicks. This is an automated strategy. It's my default automated strategy. It's the number one strategy I go to if I'm kind of unsure what the bid should be, even if I have conversion tracking in place. Chris, break down maximize clicks.
Okay, so maximize clicks falls under one of two categories, and I'll try and let's say, Jason, everything we talk about, the first four we talk about are going to be automated bid strategies. So the first four are automated bid strategies. Maximize clicks falls under automated, and what that means is every time we talk about automated, it means that you cannot make micro decisions about ad group and or keyword adjustments in small increments. You can make suggestions in some cases, not in maximize clicks, but in some cases we'll talk about in the future. You can make suggestions on how things are bid, but maximize clicks is not one of those. You set maximize clicks, and what Google does is it says all clicks are created equal. I will not push some higher than the others. I will get the lowest CPC that I can get despite match type, despite quality, despite all of, whatever brings in conversions, it doesn't care. It's just going to get the most clicks for what it can.
For the budget.
For the budget. Thank you. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So maximize clicks, reading from their documentation here, automated bid strategy that sets your bids to help get as many clicks as possible within your budget. If you want, you can put a maximum CPC bid limit on there and tell the system not to pay more than a certain amount, or not to bid more than a certain amount.
Yes.
I mean, what, Chris? Like what else? It's pretty simple. I mean,
so the name of the episode is what's the best. So let's go through two suggestions, when to use and when not to use. So number one, when to use max clicks. My suggestion is you're just getting started in Google Ads. I like maximize clicks because
where do you think the name Max comes from? Like some people are born with the name Max. Boys are born with the name Max because they're born into the world. They're new, just like your Google Ads campaign. When you have a new Google Ads campaign, when you're in what stretch are you talking about? That's where you can look it up. That's where the name Max comes from. It comes from. It's inspired by the maximum clicks bid strategy in Google Ads. You didn't know that? I thought you did this professionally. What are you talking about? You didn't know that?
Okay. No, it sounds like fake history to me, but
it could be fake history. I could also spin this into like a, cocktail party talk. Like, what do you do for a living? Well, I work in Google Ads and,
maximize clicks.
Your name is Max. Let me tell you about the maximize clicks bidding strategy.
You'd be a blast.
Hey, I'd be better than you. You just sit there and stare at them and tell them.
I wouldn't be there.
I work on computers or computer repair, whatever weird, quirky industry that you do that you tell people. I should say.
Oh man, no.
You should start telling, you look like a computer repair guy.
Thank you.
Especially when you're wearing short button down.
Those people do well. Those people do well nowadays.
They do well.
Yeah, everyone needs a computer.
They don't do well with me.
No,
I just throw it over my shoulder. Buy a new one.
Yeah, you just every time. That. Man. What? Delete something? No. Repair something? No.
All right, well, I mean, so Chris, my take is when to use it is when you don't know, and it's a perfect strategy for when you don't know what the bid should be in your industry.
You don't know.
It's absolutely perfect. Now, we should say this with all bidding strategies. There's like sometimes it's a few hours, sometimes it's a day, sometimes it's like 3 days, I think. Learning phase. You can see that at the status column at the campaign level. And you may turn this on, you turn it on, and then you may get 0 clicks the first day, 0 clicks the second day. And then all of a sudden it learns what the bid level should be for your keywords, your website, everything, your location. And then all of a sudden you might start spending your full budget if the search volume is out there, and you'll see the clicks come in. But for me, Chris, maximize clicks, 2 uses. 1, brand new account, brand new industry, not sure what you should bid. Your answer is max clicks. Second thing is sometimes when you just need to do a little bit of a refresh for the first time, you got all conversion tracking in place from the first time you woke up and went from some dumb squeeze pay strategy to a beautiful local business full website strategy, and everything's new and you're going to start getting a bunch of data. Maximize clicks. That's when I use it. What about you, Chris?
Yeah. I mean, I like it when I, just getting started. Also, if you're running all broad match keywords, that might be another opportunity to use max clicks. And Jason, I say that because we just recently had a discussion about, when broad match keywords are working, because we do know they work sometimes. It's not all the time, but certainly it does happen. So, if intuition about your bid levels is kind of out the window because broad match keywords just get you out there and you don't know how it's working, but it works, max clicks would be great. So let's flip the table on this.
Hey, then. One more, Chris. I'm going to argue when you don't have all conversion tracking in place.
Okay, there you go. Yep.
Because the other option is max conversions or target.
What about some?
Let's talk about that when we talk about maximize conversions. I'm going to say a question. I'm going to add this to the notes because it really is a question. Like, do you want to optimize even though you have some conversions in place? It's a discussion we need to flesh out. But so I think we're in the same place. One final thing, Chris, before when we go to don't use for maximize conversions. What about the bid limit? Do you put that on there? Because I see absolutely. A lot of advertisers when they contact me, they put that on there. You put it on there?
Absolutely, I do. I don't know if I would suggest if you're just getting started to put one on there, but at some point I do suggest it because really? I think there needs to be a cap.
Wow.
Because
you just like control. You like control. Yeah. You can't give it up.
I know. Because if I go to all time and I sort by, highest PPC, average PPC, I see stuff that is terrifying on the, average CPC for some clicks. So I need some kind of limit in place.
All right. But again, if you're brand new, if you don't.
It's done.
Oh, yeah.
There's a cough for you.
Something going on there.
Cough like a man. That's good.
Hey, Google. Relax. I'm about to say take the limit off. They weren't going to let me speak there. The wiring went bad.
Yeah.
I'm about to promote not putting on the limit. But I was going to say I have seen some crazy things when you put on max clicks. Sometimes it's a little surprising how high the average CPC can go sometimes compared to what you were doing manually. But I think what happens sometimes is you might have a very competitive, very expensive keyword tucked inside somewhere in your campaign. Maybe you weren't bidding on it that much with your manual, and then all of a sudden you hand over the keys to Google. They'll find that very expensive, very competitive keyword, and they'll do what they need to do with it to get you max clicks, and your cost per click will go up. So I have seen that, but I would say if you are new to an industry, I like taking the cap off and just seeing where we are, because the risk is someone's going to put the cap on way too low and not get any volume or not get the volume they could be getting.
You're absolutely right.
And it's like if they put in a $5 cap and the average CPC is actually going to come in at like $8, and $8 actually changes their business life and gets them great leads from Google Ads forever, and they would have never known it because they put in a cap of 5. Risk and reward, that's not a smart thing to do. So the other thing is you can always put the cap on later. So the wiring, I just got the all clear.
There we go.
We're good to keep talking. Yeah,
all right. All right.
Yeah, they're not going to mess with my throat again.
Oh, that's good.
AI, it's more advanced than people realize.
Kind of creepy a little on you, but let's.
At least I know it. You don't even know it.
Yeah, I don't even know where the connection is. I haven't found it,
but it is happening with you.
Some weird spot.
When should you not use max?
So not using max clicks. I'll tell you this: if you're mixing match types, so. To say it another way, if you have broad keywords, phrase keywords, exact match keywords, and some of them have different value to you than others, then I definitely would not use max clicks, because where's Google going to go? They're going to go with the broad terms. That's what you're going to get the most spend on. You may see absolutely nothing from other match types, and that may not be something that you intend. So
I'm going to be a little more positive, but you did say maybe. maybe you do. Maybe they do bid up phrase and exact a lot higher than broad. Maybe,
It's
but
possible.
the thing is, they're looking at keywords and they're looking at the cost per click for that keyword, not necessarily that keyword match type, I think. So we don't necessarily know. So yeah, you got to watch out for that. I would layer onto that, Chris, when you're mixing funnel strategies, you want to be a little bit careful with maximize clicks, because mixing funnel strategies and manual bidding, those things go together because you can have full control. This keyword converts great. This ad group converts great. I'm going to bid higher for it. This one converts horribly, but it still gets volume. So I'm going to bid a lot lower for it and get the cost per lead that I want. You do that manually. The system on maximize clicks, when it's not looking at conversion data at all, it's not going to be that nuanced, and you're not going to have control over the different funnels that you're different parts of the funnel that you're advertising to in your campaign. That's where it gets tricky.
And one example of what Jason's talking about is you have things about you're a plumber, something like that, and you have keywords around plumbing services near me, right? And then you have another one about how to fix broken toilet, right? That's a different level of the funnel. Interest versus awareness versus ready to purchase kind of levels. They make a massive difference in how much volume there is out there. There'll be a whole lot more how to, and I guarantee you, maximize clicks between those two, it will go for the cheapest traffic. That's what it's programmed to do. And the cheapest traffic will typically be the highest level of the sales funnel. It'll be the how-to stuff. It'll be the how do I, how can I, why do type of stuff like that will be cheap.
Okay, Chris, let's talk about maximize conversions bidding strategy. Most people's favorite these days. What's going on with maximize conversions? What is that?
So conversions is fancy Google speak for a lead of some kind, a sale, a lead, a some type of action taken by a person after they click your ad. So these conversions are only from a paid visitor from Google Ads. And when a conversion tracks in your account, it can be linked to an ad group, a campaign, or in this case, a keyword. And when that conversion is attached to a keyword, it says this keyword brought in this conversion, whether it was a phone call, a lead form, something like that, Google will say, the person has indicated that they would like to maximize those conversion actions. So they will then push that type of search according to whatever signals came in with that. Could be device type, could be time of day, could be the search itself, could be the searches that happened before that conversion happened. What led up to that. I mean, there's all kinds of signals that happen in these automated systems, and you're just telling it maximize for those actions.
Okay. Now, maximize conversions. I would say also, Chris, I was just thinking what I was going to say. The thing I would also say, we talked about the keyword. I think they're also looking at the person behind the search, demographic, income, age, the audience they're in, the location, advanced machine learning to automatically optimize bids and offer auction time bidding capabilities that tailor your bids for every auction. That's from the help document. Every auction to me means every person doing a search. Using historical information about your campaign and evaluating the contextual signals present at auction time. There's a lot of signals they get, is my point.
Yeah.
And so I think it goes beyond the keyword, the time of day, location, pretty much everything we can see and have control over, device, all that kind of stuff in the account, plus a billion other things that we can't see.
Things we don't even know. Things we can't know. Google will never show us. Absolutely. Those things are all signals. And that's what maximize conversions is. It's you get to control the keywords, you get to control the budget, you don't get to control the bids, you don't get to control which keywords take priority over others. But you do get to tell Google, hey, you do all this, but what I want you to do is maximize the conversions. Now, Jason,
yes,
it's an honest show here. So tell me, if you choose maximize conversions, does that mean your conversions are going to increase? It spiked.
It happened again. No, it happened.
Oh, that connection.
Happened again. honestly, Chris, the name is very beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I have seen it work well, but I run most of the time I run a manual bid strategy that's based on maximizing conversions, but also
Mm-hmm.
with full control to make adjustments we see fit at any time. That's what I do. So I'm not running maximize conversions a lot, but the name is so powerful.
Yeah.
And I get requests from it from clients from time to time. It's a very strong request.
Mm.
And I don't have a lot of data on it, to be honest, because I do manual bids. And in the past, when I've tried to do maximize conversions against my manual bids, it doesn't work out as well.
Yeah.
That's my experience. Maybe it's different. Maybe it obviously should get better and better over time, but that's been my experience. That said, I have seen accounts where I get into them and they have a great cost per conversion they like, and everything is working with it, with max conversions, and I've seen it work well
Yeah.
when I look at their accounts. But I've also seen situations where we try to go back to it and it doesn't work, or maybe the
That's a good point.
3 weeks it would take to work, or 3 months it would take to work, people don't have the patience for. So I
Yeah.
have seen it where it works amazing when I see an account running it, but I've also seen times where someone tries to go back to it, or we try to test it and it doesn't work as well. That's been my experience.
Yeah. Yeah. It definitely takes patience, because Google will even say that it's not an instant system. So Jason didn't outright say it, but it is. I'll say it because Jason, I severed my connection, and I can say it. I have the
You
ability
think
to
you
say
have, but you haven't.
it. I think I have. I checked everywhere, but I'm going to say that just because you quote unquote maximize conversions, that does not mean that you're going to get more conversions. That is not a guarantee. It's not necessarily true. But let's talk about the good stuff. When would you use maximize conversions?
So first thing that comes to my mind is huge accounts, tons of
Ah,
different campaigns, tons of different
okay.
keywords. Chris, I manage accounts that range from $100 a month to $1 billion a month, and they're in that range. And some of them are
In that
closer
range.
to being close to $1 billion versus $100 a month. And when
Okay,
they're bigger,
sure.
there's more stuff going on in them, more campaigns,
Okay.
more ad groups, more keywords. And as simple as you and I like to keep things, sometimes when you have massive businesses, massive accounts, tons and tons of different locations to manage, tons and tons of different service lines or areas of the business to manage that just need different campaigns, there's a whole lot to keep track of. And sometimes, or almost every time, I can use different strategies to keep things organized and do manual bidding, but sometimes you can benefit and make your life easier uh, with max conversion. So that's the first thing that comes to my mind is huge, complex accounts with tons and tons of stuff going on. That kind of plays hand in hand when you have tons of data. The more data you could feed this thing, I think the better when it comes to
That's a
max
good point.
conversions. Why don't you speak to that? Because I know that was on your mind as well in terms of a place to use maximize conversions.
Yeah, so I definitely agree. It is a great thing when you have, and I'm gonna just to throw a number out. I mean, I usually like to see about 15, at least 15 conversions in a month.
Oh my
So
God, Chris, that
that's
is so,
it's
so, so,
it's not much,
so borderline to my possible threshold. That
yeah,
is such a
it's low.
small number of conversions.
But Jason, I have to throw a number.
You have to
So
start somewhere.
2 a week, if you get like 2 a week, and what I'm not talking about is you had like 3 weeks where it was just absolute trash, and then you had 1 week where you got a whole bunch of conversions. We'll talk about that in a minute in the don't use part. But what I mean is like a steady trickle of conversions. If you get 15 a
At a
month,
minimum,
okay,
at an absolute minimum.
minimum. I would say, okay, let's try it. Let's try it. And also, Jason, this is important to note because if you're on maximize clicks and you swap to maximize conversions, what could happen? I'll tell you the answer. I'm going to ask a question. I'm going to tell you the answer. The answer is you may see a spike in the CPC that goes so high and it focuses on conversions, which is what you told it to do, that you might get half the traffic. So if your focus is on getting conversions and cost per acquisition, that's where you should go. But be aware, if you realize you turned on maximize conversions and it took your CPCs up by 60%, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm getting so much less clicks now. I'm getting 75% less clicks. My conversions are better, but I didn't realize I actually still really want that traffic. That's something to be aware of. So use it if you truly are focused on conversions.
Now, Chris, there's an option here: set a target cost per action, a target cost per conversion. That essentially is like target CPA bidding, target cost per acquisition, cost per conversion, whatever you want to call it. What do you do when you're running maximized conversions? Would you recommend putting on a target cost per lead?
If it gives you a suggested CPA goal, then okay, I guess so. But a lot of times if I'm starting brand new and I'm just going to tiptoe into it, first of all, I'm probably doing an experiment. And then second, I'm probably not going to give it a CPA. I'm probably just going to say maximize and see where it goes. But I don't know. That's a toss up. The best answer is to test it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to be inclined to put on a target CPA there because they have a conversion they want in mind. I mean, my outlook is if you're going for an automated strategy, go for it and let it run the way it should run. I would probably be inclined to not put a cap on there for the cost per acquisition. See how it performs for 30 days, at least 2 weeks, 30 days, something like that. And then if you want, put a realistic cost per lead on there. But I think the risk of putting it on too early is people are going to put that too low and then not give the system a chance to do its thing. So that's maximized conversions. Are you hearing people pipe up about this one a lot, Chris, like I am? Like they just fall in love with it, I think, because of the name.
Yeah. But I think you're right. I think it's the suggested result that you're going to get simply from the name. Maximize conversions. I mean, it sounds very appealing, and it is. Yeah, it is the most popular because as we'll go through, the next two automated strategies fall under restrictions and some focuses, and they don't quite sound so wonderful, and sometimes you just are excluded from these opportunities. So
when would you not use maximize conversions?
I'll tell you what, this is the easiest decision to make because there are absolute cutoffs. There are absolute cutoffs when you should not use maximize conversions. Number one, for me, is very little conversion data. I talked about the 15 a month thing. If you have less than 15 a month or you have zero, do not use maximize conversions. Do not suggest it. Brand new campaigns with no signals of conversion data, I do not think should use, because that would essentially be the same thing. You have no conversion data. And then to jump back to what you talked about earlier, bad conversion data. In other words, somebody fills out a form and it tracks for form submission and lead received and qualified lead. One conversion tracks 3 times because they have their form tracking all wrong, or phone calls are set up the wrong way, or there's no phone call tracking at all. If you have questionable metrics and you're not really getting a full picture, either inflated numbers or deflated numbers from the truth, maximize conversions may be a bad choice for you. And I'll tell you honestly, this is very common. If you don't think that you're getting bad conversion data, you're within the minority.
You need to audit your conversions. Yeah, Chris, I have seen people be happy with max conversions turned on when they're not tracking all their leads or where they're tracking them incorrectly. I think a lot of that is just driven from maybe they have really good search terms going on, a good website, and everything's just good overall. And if they get traffic, it's going to perform. The traffic they get is going to be good and it will perform. But it just logically, it just doesn't make sense. If you're only tracking 1 out of 3 lead sources or 2 out of 3 or something, you're telling the system to get you, it's just not running. It's trying to get you maximum conversions that you're reporting on, but not all the conversions you could be getting. And it probably just isn't optimal. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. And we take a step from there even further into maximize conversion value. Now, this takes a step even further into the conversion world where you're not just getting conversions, your level of data is even higher. The integrity of your
It's
data is even
complete.
higher. Yeah. Yeah. This is if conversions are rare, maximize conversion value is a diamond. You know, I mean, it's the rarest of all. And you can have conversions and not have this. So essentially what maximize conversion value means is the number of conversions are not factored in. Instead, if a phone call is worth a $200 value to you and a lead form estimate quote is worth $600 to you, it's going to optimize more for the lead form, which is worth more. The value is in that conversion type. This is absolutely something that e-commerce people should use. Maximize conversion value, because if you just use maximize conversions for e-commerce, it might sell a whole bunch of door knockers, you know, but actually that's an accessory to the doors that you sell. Door knockers are $50, but your doors are $700. You don't want to optimize for these little bitty conversions. They look good on the cost per acquisition.
$700 for a door?
Yeah.
Chris. Yeah, maybe in 1995.
I don't know.
Inflation these days?
I have people that buy
Chris,
things.
Do you have people in your life that bring up inflation every time you bring up a product or service?
My wife.
Yeah, I've got people in my life too that do that. It's funny.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, well,
it is what it is. Yeah.
I'll work harder.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What am I going to do about it?
I mean, I still want a new pair of shoes, you know.
Still need a new door and a door knocker. Yeah.
Door knocker. I still need a new car. But yeah, that's conversion value. Now, Jason,
yes.
What are your thoughts on maximize conversion value?
I think it's I like it more than maximize conversions, because if you're going to be running the only reason you're running max conversion value or conversion value with I would have a target return on ad spend there. That's the option that you can do, like plus 100%, plus 500%, whatever. What I like about that is if you're choosing that option, you have all your conversion tracking data in place. You know what you're doing with that. And that, to me, is the best time for the system to run, is when you have all that data in place. I've seen that less, because less people have all of that, especially the value of what lead conversions are, because I'm mostly in the lead generation space. But this is what I do manually. I look at what is a product or service worth that we're selling, revenue from it. How many leads does it take to get one of those product or services sold? Then what is my cost per lead? What is my value per lead for each lead? And then what return do I want to make when I pay a cost per lead to get that value per lead? That went over 99% of people's heads, but for the 1% of people that are going to get that, and the other 10% that are going to study and figure it out one day, that's the absolute secret to Google Ads, is that process. Yep. And that's what I do with manual bidding when all the data is in place. And so, yeah, I'm going to be very open to an automated strategy and seeing how that performs when everything is in place. It can be a beautiful strategy. And then it's just like everything with automated and manual. Test it. Does it work as good as manual? Maybe it does. Maybe it doesn't, but you can decide. But the overall point here, Chris, is that is the diamond, the gold standard, whatever you want to call it, the gold standard of Google Ads. That is perfect Google Ads. And so I have to be open to it.
Let me say, let's say you are one of those companies that spends somewhere between $100 and $1 billion a month, and you are getting conversions. And company A spends the same amount and they're just tracking conversions, no conversion value. Company B is tracking conversions with conversion value, and they both see the same number of conversions, same number of everything. Company B, with that conversion value, would notice that the conversion value return is starting to drop, even though their conversions are going up. They would be able to see that in the numbers very quickly.
Oh, they're going to run circles around company A.
Company A is going to see conversions going up, and they're going to optimize for that conversion going up. And then their sales team months down the line will say, something's happening. We're not closing as many, or we're not as profitable. The books quarter by quarter start to go down. They won't be able to spot it. That's why it's the gold standard, is because you can see things that other companies won't be able to see because it's based on value and not just raw numbers. Gold standard, 100%.
A lot of lead generation companies, or a lot of companies out there that get leads, Chris, service companies, I should say. I ask them for this process. They don't give me numbers. Oh, we really haven't done that. We really don't know. And I tell them, hey, ballpark's better than nothing. We need this. They don't give it to me. And Chris, speaking frankly, in business, not in Google Ads Major, I'm going to get you the best results I can. But in business, that's an unacceptable answer. You have to know your numbers, and it can take a very powerful platform like Google Ads, the most powerful form of advertising in the world, what I call performance advertising. It can take it to a level you can't even imagine. And then something that might not is target impression share. So why don't we talk about that before we take a break?
Yeah, last thing, and I don't have a whole lot to say about this one. It's not really something I like a lot, and I don't use it much, but it's one of the 5 options out there. Target impression share essentially just says, hey, forget clicks, forget conversions. We're just going to get you out there. We're going to get you showing up. That's pretty much there really is to it. Impression share, the term impression share just means visibility. So you could say it in layman's terms, target visibility. We're going to get you this much visibility based on your budget. That's all it really is. Not something, Jason, I don't think I have ever use this bidding strategy.
If you have all your conversion tracking in place, if all your keywords are running from the same part of the funnel, and you're confident about everything, you're confident about your website, confident about your conversion tracking, confident about your keywords and your search terms and your ad copy and everything, and you just want to put the pedal to the freaking metal and destroy everybody and go for a 100% impression share, that it's an option. That's sometimes the people's goal. That's sometimes people's goal. Sometimes people want to dominate, and this promises domination, because you can say, I want my impression share to be 100%. It says, where do you want your ads to appear on the page? You have kind of an option on the bidding, essentially, on the how aggressive you want to be. It says top of the results page, anywhere on the results page, or the absolute top of the results page. And so we know what that means. You could show up anywhere. You could show up in the top section above organic, top percentage, or you could show up absolute top percentage. We talk about that column, absolute top of the results page, number 1. I forgot what the first word I said to you was last time, but I'll call you bro. I'll call you dude, brother, co-host.
Okay.
If you put on absolute top of results page and you put on 100% impression share, and you don't put a maximize click limit on there, if you Chris, if you put this on, that's what that strategy would be, domination. Now, I've done this on an account that spends $1 billion a month, and it did not get us as strong as what we could do with manual bids in terms of aggression.
There you go.
Now, maybe it would have over a month as the system learns, but it was just so easy to just raise the bids manually and go for that level of aggression that we did it manually. But if you want to do it, that's one reason you could do it. Chris, you could also say, hey, this is what we want. We're confident in everything, conversion tracking, keywords, blah, 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 website. But we just want to kind of be there 50% of the time. That's the market share we want. And we just want to show up at the top of the page, not the absolute top all the time, but just anywhere in the top. Sometimes at the very top, but anywhere at the top. I can see the logic for it, but I just have less experience running with it, because the only times I've had it brought up to me is right there, brother. It was right there. They were telling me what to do, and I was doing it, and I was in the basement, and they said, we want to be number 1 all the time. We're spending $1 billion a month. Make it happen, or we're going to make it happen. And I was like, you got it.
Yes, sir. You got it.
So I walked them through the impression share thing, and it didn't work.
Yeah.
And thank God for manual bids. That's the only reason I'm still here, because I was able to pull it off with manual bids.
I would go so far as to say, if you're considering target impression share, I would really question why not manual. There'd have to be a really good reason why not manual. And we'll talk about manual in just a minute. But before we jump
All right, give
into
me your
advanced,
arms. Give me your arms. Hand on your hip.
we have don't use. Why don't we use?
We just talked about for 10 minutes talking about why we don't use this.
Okay, fine.
No, I'm kidding. Why wouldn't you use it? Why? Just because it's tough? Like
I would just say, absolutely don't use it. And consider manual bids instead, or maximize clicks instead if you're using just pure broad keywords. You already have a pitifully low search impression share. That, why?
If you have all conversion tracking in place and you want to do automated maximize conversions, if you don't have all conversion tracking in place and you want to do automated maximize clicks, that will get you the most clicks possible for your budget. If you have some experience with manual and you want to try that out, you can have a lot more control than this. So where does it fit other than that? Just full play strategy. Yeah,
it's an oddball
but hey.
No, he got him.
I like that it's in there, Chris. I like the more options we have, the better. And yeah, I like that it's in there. So seriously.
Okay.
Seriously, I like that it's in there. Yeah, I like that it's in there. There are some times
because it helps you get more clients when they pick it and they ruin their accounts and they call you. Is that why you like it? No, because it saved my life. I told you. Okay.
I was in the basement one time and they said,
I remember.
We're spending $1 billion a month. We want to be number one. And I don't see my ad number one. So what are you going to do about it? And Chris,
where is it?
It bought me a few days to figure out how to do it with manual bidding. So I will always have love for impression share, and I will always have love for you. And my heart will go on. And let's pick a song, Baby, 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 and let's dance during this break, Chris. Is it too late to say I'm sorry? Let's dance.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I want to tell you, before we get into manual bids, which is absolutely the highlight of our discussion, I want to remind you the highlight of this episode is when you sign up for the 8-week free trial of Optio. Optio.com/PSP is the only place to go to get an 8-week free trial, 2-month free trial. You can try the tool in its entirety. You can do everything that you need to do in the account during this 8-week free trial. It's almost like illegal how much they give you for free, because it's like, here, take the first 2 months are free. You can take, and then you're hooked. You're hooked because it's a great tool. And you know what? It's one of those good things that you can get hooked on that'll actually make your life better. So try it out. Thank us later.
Okay, Chris. So the time has come to talk about manual bidding. Let me first ask you, we've been known as the manual bidding guys for years and years.
Yes.
But there's all this pressure all the time. Turn max conversions back on, blah, blah, blah. Where are you at with manual bids these days? Is it still most of what you do? Is it still the one?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Still the one. 80 to 90%. Well, I'll say that. No, let me say it this way. 100% of the accounts that I start are manual bids.
Wow.
No question.
Wow.
I mean, they may not stay that way after I reach a certain point, but 100% of the accounts that I set up and run are manual bids. If that doesn't get the message across about how much it means to me, I don't know what else to say. Jason?
Chris, I need more speed. I need speed, Chris. And when I'm running an account, I need speed. And honestly, what slows me down in a large way from using automated bid strategies, and manual still is what I'm using, just like you, almost every time.
Almost
every now and then, if we have no idea, we'll throw on max clicks when we start off a campaign. But I love manual bids, Chris. I love the control, and I love speed. I love the speed. I love the speed. Hey, do I perform today or not, Chris?
You do. You are always on point.
You ever wonder why? Do you ever wonder why? Do you ever wonder about my own health? Or do you just say, wow, he brought it again?
I don't ask questions.
Okay, you don't ask questions.
You perform, and I don't ask questions.
Yep.
That's all I'll say.
So, Chris, speed. I need speed. I need the ability to control things. And that is what slows me down with automated bid strategies. I hate the 1 to 3 day process and the learning phase where stuff just doesn't happen. Stuff is just not really running that much. You don't.
And how many emails do you get in those 3 days while you're sitting there going, click, get a click, please. Get an impression, please.
You know what I do? You know what I do?
Emails.
I grab a screenshot of the email 3 days ago that says we have to go back to maximize conversion strategy, and then I hover over that send button, but no, I don't send it. I don't send it. And I go, yeah, looks like this is what we thought might happen with automated bid strategies. Let's go back to manual. 15 minutes later, we're getting clicks and conversions, and the world is good, and people are seeing their ads. So that's. I just want to say, like a pro to manual, it's really, for me, comes down to the control. And one of the big things about control is getting things going and turning on a new campaign. And what made me think of that, Chris, was you said you always start with manual bidding, basically. And I was like, really? This guy must be cocky about his ability to understand the cost per click bid levels across the variety of industries that he works in. But the thing is, you don't have to know the cost per click bid levels of the variety of industries you work in. You put on a freaking bid, and then you see how it performs, and then you change the bid based on the data, and you do it fast with speed and control. I love that with manual bids. I love them so much, Chris. There's like a few things I love in my life, and manual bids is right up there. I freaking love it. I dream about it. I fantasize about it. I want it every second of the day. I need more manual bidding.
The enthusiasm at which we've talked about every one of these bid strategies, you could just consider how enthused and excited we are about using manual bids, just by listening to the tone and the things we have to say about it. I mean, it is
made my freaking life, Chris. It made my career. I don't have to worry about what door knockers cost now, even with inflation, because I've mastered manual bidding.
Okay. I mean,
you got all these people out there.
You don't have a door knocker on.
How many?
Do you not have one on your door?
Staying up at night worrying about their door knockers.
Door knocker.
Never heard that term in my life, Chris. I've heard doorknob over and over. Haven't heard a door knocker.
Door knocker. It's for high end houses, Jason. It's
first of all, is it too late to say I'm sorry? He sang and asked. No, it's not. It's never too late to say you're sorry. So it's never too late, and that's something people need to remember, because we're at each other's throats right now. But it's never too late to come together and say I'm sorry. And Chris, I want to say sorry to you. For years and years and years and years, I made fun of you for saying Louisville, Texas was pronounced as Louisville. Lo and behold, I find out this week, for various reasons, there is a city called Louisville, Texas that is actually pronounced that way and spelled that way. And at some point in your sad, pathetic excuse for a life. No, I'm just, I don't know why. I don't know. I don't know
why you said that. You just
I don't know. There's a little
this was a compliment.
It says insult Chris once an episode, and I don't know why I have to do that, but
thought it was going down one way, but it changed all of a sudden.
In your life, Chris, for some reason you were exposed. I can't even remember. You may not know anyone from there, maybe on the other side of Texas, who knows? But at some point, I guarantee you saw the word or heard the name Louisville, Texas, and that's why you thought Louisville, Kentucky was pronounced Louisville. And we all made fun of you. We all talked behind your back. It is spelled different. It's spelled different, but still, the fact that you had heard it.
Yes, Louisville. It's in the Dallas area. I've lived right by it for several years,
and that's why you thought Louisville was pronounced Louisville. And we made fun of you. We talked behiin your back. Every time I talk to someone who knows about the show, we make fun of you. We always bring it up. We have ritual meetings, like once a year. We get together and we just celebrate the fact that you sounded like an absolute imbecile in front of the whole world by saying Louisville, Kentucky. But it's now time for us to apologize to you because it's excusable now, and we understand it. So I want to say I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, thank you. Apology accepted. Thank you, Jason.
You. And
4 years.
It's that easy. It's that easy.
Had to be 4 years. Because you named an entire forum after that debacle.
Yeah. Yep.
When we had our PPC forum that we had. So, well, thank you. Well,
let's talk about manual bids. I just had to get that off my chest. But
well, thank you. Yes.
But I thought of you because it's understandable.
Louisville. I'd never put that connection together, but yeah, I mean, I went to Louisville all the time. It's over there near Irving, Texas.
You like it?
Yeah, it's a nice
place.
Area. Yeah. We lived real close to it for a while. But yeah. So when to use manual bids?
Yeah.
Now, absolutely, when you're mixing and matching your match types, you have broad, phrase, exact. Absolutely the best solution when you're mixing match types and or you're mixing different levels of the sales funnel. The same thing
Yeah.
we talked
Yeah.
about before. The
Which
how-to
essentially by
traffic.
default you are if you're using broad most of the
Right.
time.
Yeah, you are. That's true. That's true. Because you can't not get crap traffic along with good traffic with broad keywords. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
So if you're doing that in the same campaign, manual bids is the absolute best.
Because
Jason?
of the control, because you can look at, like I said earlier, with the return on spend thing, you can look at, number one, if you don't have all conversion tracking in place and someone wants to get an impression share of whatever, you can control it. They want to have lower impression share loss to ad rank. You can control it. They want to show up number one X% of the time. You can control it. They want to show up at the top X%. You do have conversion tracking in place. You want to get a certain cost per conversion. This broad keyword or this very, very loose phrase match keyword or this high funnel phrase and exact match keyword converts at 2%. It takes 50 clicks to get a conversion. You have a target cost per conversion in mind. You can bid according to how that keyword performs. Another one converts 1 out of every 3 clicks. Do the math. You can figure out what to bid on that one. Someone comes into the market, they start bidding crazy. You know they're going to go broke, but you don't want to go broke with them. You can pull your bids back. Chris, I love the
that
control.
Is such
a client said,
point.
"Hey, we're working on our intake, but we got some new people in there. They're not closing as much as they used to. We need to pull back our bids." Or they don't say that, but so how can we pull down our cost? Pull down your bids a little bit, and when you're ready to go back, control. So go ahead, Chris. You like that?
That was such a good point because the market is the one thing that you do not have control of, right? In many of these bid strategies, you have some control over some things, but the market, the auction insights, the competitors that are what they're bidding, that's one thing you do not have control of. And with many of these automated strategies, they react to the market. And if you do not want to react to the market and you want to concrete in exactly what you want to spend per click and not have that move up with the market, the CPC might move up seasonally, might drop down, and you say, no, I want to be here. I want to be here. I want to be kind of riding right around the middle of things. I don't want to be too high. I don't want to be too low. You can do that with manual, but with max conversions, it's going to push when the market starts to push. It's going to push just as much. And you might see CPCs rise up with everybody else.
And you can't do anything about it.
You can't do anything about it. Absolutely not. No. You may see what you may see. You say, well, yeah, I can. I have target cost per acquisition set, okay. But let's say the market moves up 40% on CPCs. What's going to happen to your target acquisition number? You're going to start seeing higher and higher numbers. You're going to start getting less clicks. Your conversion rate may not improve. And there's all kinds of things that would happen. It would just start to fall apart.
Or you're going to go down a deep, dark hole of confusion because you're going to start thinking, oh, well, no, it's our website. We got to add this to the website. Or no, we need landing pages. Let's try that. Or no, we've got to throw in broad keywords. Let's try that. Good luck. So, so manual bids, it allows artists to be artists, Chris.
Ooh. Michael Jordan to be Michael Jordan, as you used to say.
Let Michael Jordan be Michael Jordan. So
whoever he was.
When to not use, Chris, manual bids.
Yeah. This is opinion. This is my opinion, but I really don't think there's any situation, whether you have conversions or you don't have conversions, whether you have budget, you don't have budget. I think all of those are perfectly reasonable to use manual bids. The time not to use manual bids for me has to do with the person. If you're intimidated by Google Ads, if you're intimidated by the metrics, you don't understand the system, you don't understand what your bid should be, you don't know how to make decisions about things because you're just new to it or you're intimidated by it. You wear 15 different hats and you don't know, how much time you can put into it and you're intimidated to make decisions and not check it again for 2, 3, 4 weeks. Manual bids may not be for you.
Yeah, it's not for you.
No, but other than that, I don't care if you have conversions or not. I don't care how much budget you have. Manual bids are scalable.
Chris, I needed to hear that. I need to hear that. I've had birds chirping in my ear. We need to do maximize. We need to do maximize this, maximize that, maximize.
No.
No, I'm in too good a mood to throw anything today.
Oh,
I thought
I
about the
wanted to hear it.
consequences of throwing something. No,
Oh,
I was able to
you got
control myself.
babies
Yeah.
sleeping in your house,
Yeah.
don't you? That's what
Yeah.
it is. It's
Yeah.
ruined you.
Chris,
Well,
I got a nice plate of quesadillas here. Look at that.
oh, nice. Oh, look at
And
that.
as nice it is to talk to you once a week, I gotta
Food comes
go.
first.
Yeah, I gotta
Yeah.
go.
Well, I understand, Jason. I see my wife out here. She's mowing our huge lawn in a bikini top, so I have to go as well. Priorities. So it's been nice. If you guys would like to reach out to me and talk to me about not my wife in a bikini top, but instead Google Ads, chrisschaefer.com. That's ChrisSchaeffer. Reach out to me. Guaranteed I can help you. Guaranteed.
Thanks, Chris. And I'm here to steer the ship. RothmanPPC.com, Google Ads Management Consulting. Send me a message, and I will get back to you. So thank you so much, Chris. I'm going to get back to this quesadilla, and I will get back to you next week on episode 318 of the Paid Search Podcast.